Welcome to Prep Pass. Here are 20 real ServSafe workplace harassment prevention practice questions with answers for 2026. Read each question, then try to answer before the 5-second timer runs out. For the full free practice test, just search preppass.org. Let's begin. Question 1. In harassment prevention training, sexual harassment is generally described as taking two main forms. Which pair correctly names them? A. Verbal harassment and written harassment. B. Quid pro quo harassment and a hostile work environment. C. Intentional harassment and accidental harassment. D. Customer harassment and coworker harassment. The correct answer is B. Sexual harassment is usually taught in two forms. Quid pro quo, this for that, is when a job benefit, being hired, promoted, scheduled, or kept employed, is tied to submitting to sexual conduct. A hostile work environment is when unwelcome conduct is severe or pervasive enough to make the workplace intimidating, hostile, or offensive. The other choices mix up the channel or intent of conduct with these two legal categories. Question 2. Which practice best supports a respectful, inclusive restaurant workplace? A. Treating coworkers professionally and stopping jokes or comments once someone says they are unwelcome. B. Assuming everyone enjoys the same jokes because that's just kitchen culture. C. Ignoring a coworker's discomfort as long as the food goes out on time. D. Only being respectful when a manager is watching. The correct answer is A. A respectful workplace is built on treating coworkers professionally and adjusting your behavior when someone signals that conduct is unwelcome. Excusing behavior as kitchen culture, prioritizing service over people's dignity, or acting respectfully only when supervised all allow disrespect and harassment to take root. Question 3. An employee experiences harassment but feels uncomfortable reporting it to their immediate supervisor, who is friends with the harasser. What does good harassment prevention practice recommend? A. Stay silent because the supervisor is the only option. B. Quit without telling anyone. C. Confront the harasser physically. D. Use an alternative reporting channel, such as another manager, HR, an owner, or a hotline the employer provides. The correct answer is D. Effective anti-harassment programs give employees more than one way to report, precisely so no one is forced to report to a person who may be biased. If the immediate supervisor is not a safe option, the employee can go to another manager, HR, an owner, or a company hotline. Staying silent, quitting, or physical confrontation are not safe or effective responses. Question 4. Federal protection against workplace sexual harassment comes primarily from which law, enforced by the EEOC? A. The FDA Food Code. B. The Americans with Disabilities Act only. C. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. D. The Fair Labor Standards Act. The correct answer is C. At the federal level, sexual harassment is treated as a form of sex discrimination prohibited by Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, which is enforced by the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC. ServSafe workplace training is designed to align with EEOC guidance. The Food Code covers food safety, and the FLSA covers wages and hours, not harassment. Question 5. What is a helpful thing a bystander can do after witnessing possible harassment, even if they could not safely act in the moment? A. Check on the person who was targeted and encourage or help them report it. B. Tell the target to forget about it so no one gets in trouble. C. Assume someone else will definitely handle it. D. Warn the harasser that a complaint might be coming. The correct answer is A. Even when direct intervention is not safe, a bystander can support the target afterward, asking if they're okay, letting them know what was witnessed, and helping them report it through the proper channel. Telling someone to let it go, assuming others will act, or tipping off the harasser all leave the target unsupported and can make the situation worse. Question 6. A manager tells a host, "Go out with me this weekend and I'll finally give you those Friday dinner shifts you asked for." This is the clearest example of which type of harassment? A. Quid pro quo harassment. B. Hostile work environment harassment. C. Constructive feedback. D. Bystander intervention. The correct answer is A. Quid pro quo harassment occurs when a person with authority conditions a job benefit, here, the better shifts, on submitting to a sexual or romantic request. Because a supervisor is trading a work advantage for a date, even a single incident can qualify. A hostile work environment, by contrast, usually involves a pattern of unwelcome conduct rather than a direct exchange. Question 7. Why does harassment prevention training emphasize the impact of harassment, not just the rules? A. Because impact only matters to the legal department. B. Because focusing on impact lets the business avoid writing any policy. C. Because harassment has no real effect on the business. D. Because harassment harms individuals' well-being and also hurts the business through turnover, low morale, and reputation damage. The correct answer is D. ServSafe workplace uses scenario-based learning that centers the human impact of harassment. Beyond being wrong, harassment drives away good employees, lowers morale and productivity, and can damage a restaurant's reputation and expose it to liability. Understanding that impact motivates staff to maintain a respectful culture rather than just memorize rules. Question 8. A manager receives a report of sexual harassment from a dishwasher. What is the appropriate first response? A. Tell the dishwasher to handle it personally and move on. B. Take the complaint seriously, respond promptly, and follow the company's reporting and investigation procedure. C. Announce the complaint to the whole kitchen to see who agrees. D. Wait to see if it happens again before doing anything. The correct answer is B. Managers are trained to treat every complaint seriously and act promptly by following the employer's established procedure for handling and escalating reports. Brushing it off, publicizing it to the team, or waiting for a repeat all fail the reporter and can increase the employer's liability. Prompt, procedure-driven action is the standard. Question 9. Sexual harassment is legally understood as a form of what broader category of prohibited workplace conduct? A. Wage theft. B. Sex discrimination. C. A food safety violation. D. A scheduling error. The correct answer is B. Under Title VII and EEOC interpretation, sexual harassment is a form of unlawful sex discrimination. Framing it this way explains why it is prohibited regardless of the genders involved and why it sits alongside other forms of discrimination based on protected characteristics. It is unrelated to wage, food safety, or scheduling rules, which are governed by separate laws. Question 10. Why is a culture where coworkers are willing to step in or speak up important for preventing harassment? A. Because it lets managers avoid ever writing a policy. B. Because bystanders are legally required to physically stop all harassment. C. Because harassment is only a problem when no customers are present. D. Because when coworkers notice, support targets, and report, harassment is less likely to be ignored or to escalate. The correct answer is D. A workplace where people are willing to notice, support those affected, and report problems makes it far less likely that harassment goes unaddressed or grows worse. Bystanders are not expected to physically stop harassment or replace clear policies and manager action. They add an extra layer of accountability by refusing to stay silent, whether or not guests are around. Question 11. Which situation best fits the definition of a hostile work environment? A. A one-time, respectful disagreement about the prep schedule. B. A manager coaching a server on upselling technique. C. Repeated unwelcome sexual jokes, comments, and images from coworkers that make it hard for an employee to do their job. D. A guest complimenting the food and leaving a large tip. The correct answer is C. A hostile work environment is created when unwelcome conduct of a sexual, or otherwise protected, nature is severe or pervasive enough that a reasonable person would find the workplace intimidating, hostile, or offensive. Repeated unwelcome jokes, comments, and images fit that pattern. Normal, respectful work interactions and coaching are not harassment. Question 12. A cook keeps making comments about a new server's appearance. The server laughs politely but later looks visibly uncomfortable. What is the most respectful response for the cook? A. Keep going, because the server laughed. B. Make the comments only when managers are not nearby. C. Stop the comments. A polite laugh does not mean the conduct is welcome. D. Ask other coworkers to rate the server's appearance too. The correct answer is C. A nervous or polite laugh is not consent. People often mask discomfort to avoid conflict, especially with coworkers they must keep working alongside. The respectful choice is to stop the personal comments entirely. Continuing, or simply hiding it from managers, ignores the clear signs that the conduct is unwelcome. Question 13. When handling a harassment complaint, why is confidentiality important? A. So the complaint can be permanently hidden and never investigated. B. So managers can gossip discreetly about the people involved. C. To protect the privacy of those involved and encourage people to come forward, while still allowing a proper investigation. D. Because the law forbids anyone from ever discussing the complaint. The correct answer is C. Handling complaints as confidentially as reasonably possible protects the privacy and dignity of everyone involved and reassures workers that reporting is safe. It does not mean the complaint is buried. Information is still shared on a need-to-know basis so the employer can investigate and respond. It is about discretion, not secrecy or gossip. Question 14. Which statement about who can be involved in workplace sexual harassment is correct? A. Only a supervisor can be a harasser. B. Harassment can only happen between people of different genders. C. Only the direct target of the conduct can be affected by it. D. A harasser or target can be a manager, coworker, or even a non-employee such as a vendor or guest, and people of any gender can be involved. The correct answer is D. Harassment is not limited by role or gender. The harasser can be a supervisor, a coworker, or a non-employee such as a delivery vendor or a guest, and the target and harasser can be of the same or different genders. People who witness the conduct can also be affected. Restaurants are told to address harassment from any source, including customers. Question 15. Which statement about jokes in the workplace is most accurate? A. A joke can never be harassment because it is meant to be funny. B. Sexual or demeaning jokes can contribute to a hostile work environment when they are unwelcome and repeated. C. Jokes are only a problem if a customer overhears them. D. Only managers can be responsible for jokes. The correct answer is B. Labeling something a joke does not shield it. Unwelcome sexual or demeaning jokes, especially when repeated, are exactly the kind of conduct that can add up to a hostile work environment. Everyone on the team, not just managers, and not only when guests are present, is responsible for keeping humor from crossing into harassment. Question 16. For the manager version of harassment prevention training, what is emphasized as a manager's special role? A. Creating and promoting a harassment-free culture and responding confidently and appropriately to complaints. B. Deciding which complaints are worth ignoring. C. Protecting high-performing employees from any consequences. D. Keeping all complaints away from the owner or HR. The correct answer is A. The manager edition builds on the employee content by focusing on the vital role managers play in setting the tone. They are expected to model respect, promote a harassment-free culture, and respond to complaints confidently and appropriately. Ignoring complaints, shielding favored staff, or hiding reports from HR or ownership all run directly counter to that role. Question 17. Which factor is most important when deciding whether conduct is sexual harassment rather than harmless friendliness? A. Whether the person who acted meant it as a compliment. B. Whether the conduct is unwelcome to the person receiving it. C. Whether the two people are the same age. D. Whether the conduct happened during a busy shift. The correct answer is B. The key test is whether the conduct is unwelcome to the person on the receiving end, judged from a reasonable person's perspective, not whether the actor thought it was flattering or friendly. Good intentions do not make unwelcome sexual comments or touching acceptable. This is why training stresses paying attention to how conduct actually lands, not to how it was intended. Question 18. What is the shared responsibility that harassment prevention training assigns to every employee? A. Helping maintain a respectful, harassment-free workplace and speaking up about problems. B. Personally investigating and disciplining coworkers. C. Ignoring conduct unless it is directed at them. D. Reporting only conduct that a manager already noticed. The correct answer is A. Training frames a respectful workplace as everyone's job. Each employee is expected to treat others professionally and to speak up when they experience or witness harassment. Formal investigation and discipline belong to managers and the company, and employees should report conduct even if a manager has not already seen it, not wait or stay silent because it targeted someone else. Question 19. After a harassment complaint is resolved, the reporting employee starts getting their hours cut and is suddenly excluded from meetings. This is a warning sign of what? A. Normal scheduling changes that never matter. B. A performance improvement plan. C. Confidential handling of the complaint. D. A possible retaliation, which is itself prohibited. The correct answer is D. Punishing someone for reporting harassment or participating in an investigation by cutting hours, excluding them, demoting them, or worse, is retaliation, and it is prohibited independently of whether the original harassment claim is upheld. Managers must watch for these signs and ensure people who come forward are not penalized. Question 20. Sexual harassment can be verbal, physical, or visual. Which example is a form of visual harassment? A. Making repeated comments about a coworker's body. B. Unwanted touching or blocking someone's path. C. Posting sexually explicit images in the kitchen or on a shared screen. D. Spreading sexual rumors about a coworker. The correct answer is C. Visual harassment involves what people are made to see, for example, sexually explicit photos, cartoons, or messages posted in the kitchen, on a phone, or on a shared screen. Comments and rumors are verbal forms, and unwanted touching or blocking is physical. Recognizing all three types helps staff spot harassment that is not just spoken. That's all 20 questions. Want the full ServSafe practice test with hundreds of questions, completely free? Just search preppass.org. Good luck on your exam.